Good evening, everybody. We're back. Yes, the World of Football podcast is back, and it is live on the Dugout Football channel tonight. We have a lot to talk about. First of all, I just want to say apologies for not being here for the last couple of weeks. I have just been incredibly busy. Yes, the thought of getting married very, very soon is coming up the horizon. So I'm doing very, very well. I'm joined by my esteemed panel, as always, Mr. Josh Bell. How are you, mate?
Doing very, very well. Less said about the actual footballing side of things with Chelsea, the better. It's not been fun. It's not been fun. Glenavon got a big game tomorrow. So yeah, I'm not. I'm not enjoying football life at the moment. The quicker the season ends, the better. Because it's too stressful. I've got grey hairs going on up here. I've had to dye my hair just so it doesn't show on the camera.
Yeah, we will get on to Chelsea. We will definitely go on to Chelsea. We are joined by a man who I think is probably happy that his season is finally over. Mr. Nathan Morgan. How are you, my friend?
Absolutely furious, quite frankly. The statement that came out from Cardiff City Football Club earlier today was a complete and utter disgrace. Just completely disregarding and cancelling out an open letter to Vincent Tan, which didn't even go to Vincent Tan, from the second biggest supporters group. I am utterly disgusted, and quite frankly, I am now that. Thanks for having me on, by the way.
My absolute pleasure. We've also been joined by Mr. Reese Russell, the character of chaos, I think is what you like to call him. How are you, Reese?
Still dealing with recent events, but I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
It's good to have you. I literally just messaged you just to see if you were good to come on. So it's good to have you, buddy. And obviously we are all with you as well. And last but not least, we're joined by Mr. George Kyle, who I would imagine will probably be having a bit of a rant on Manchester United later on in the show. How are you, George?
Yeah, thank you very much, Doug, for letting me on as always, and looking forward to the show. But as you said, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm almost all ranted out. So obviously, I know Nathan's season's finished, but I'm really looking forward to United's one finishing very shortly as well. Only one more match to go, but thank you very much for having me on as always.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. We'll say good evening to a lot of people. So, Bam, Helen, Andrew Quinn, evening, Yeti Boy, hello, George, hello, Cedric, good evening, Hella, good evening. We're pretty happy it's over too. Yeah, I think every Manchester United fan will definitely be happy. And we will obviously start with the Premier League roundup. And where do we begin? Let's sort of start from obviously the Saturday games. Sorry, Josh. Chelsea blowing a 2-0 lead against Wolves. Look, Wolves did very, very well to get back to 2-2. But what is going on with Chelsea at the moment? 1 win in 5 games in the Premier League. What's gone wrong?
Yes, it's not been fun. Definitely a lot of issues going on around the club at the moment. The ownership issue has absolutely not helped in any shape, way, or form. And then Antonio Rudiger is leaving. Rudiger's leaving the club. Christensen's leaving the club. Azpilicueta's leaving the club. Marcus Alonso insulted Thomas Tuchel during the game and got dragged off at halftime and will not play for the rest of the season, which just angers me even more because everyone knows how much I hate Marcus Alonso. So, it's I know, as much as we say it's not an excuse, it isn't an excuse for the results happening. But I think there's just so much going on in the changing room. There's so much going on off the pitch that clearly the players are getting distracted, and Tuchel is definitely losing. Some viable players. He's no longer. He's going to have to play Saul now at left wing back for the last 4 games of the season. He's got Malanga Sarr, who I actually think I think Malanga Sarr goes to the Phil Jones Academy. He's generally diabolical. He's awful. Trevor Chalobah's not getting in the squad. Christensen doesn't care. He doesn't want to be here. Rudiger's not the same player that he used to be, and Thiago Silva can't do it all by himself. So, yeah, there's just so much going on at the club at the moment, and there's so many other players that want to leave. We're starting to really see some worrying signs. Obviously, on the good side, yes, we do have the new owners coming in, but there's just so many off the field issues at the moment are definitely causing, because last season Chelsea were not giving up a 2-0 lead. We were never losing 4-1 to Brentford. We were. I just don't know. It's horrible to see, but the thing, luckily for us, still is that it's top four still in our hands. I think, if Arsenal win the North London derby, we need one more point, and that's it. We've got top four, so it's still in our hands. We've got Leeds away next. I'm sure we'll talk about Leeds later on.
Yeah.
But I actually have a funny feeling we'll not win that game. But yeah, listen, we just need to get to the end of the season in top four, put in a good FA Cup performance. But I expect a massive clear coming here in the summer, and a lot of new people coming in.
Yeah, but obviously, apart from the Chelsea's men team not doing well, and congratulations to the Chelsea women team winning the WSL. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, beat Manchester United 4-2 to win the title away from Arsenal as well. But that's just a wee side note. But Nathan, I think the one thing you can say, Chelsea really rotated for this game. Romelu Lukaku started. He got two goals. Shock horror. And then Chelsea just didn't manage to hold out for the 3 points. Wolves managed to get a late equaliser. Connor Cody, of all people, getting the equaliser. But what do you think's gone wrong at Chelsea?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, looking at this game in particular, I think complacency really harmed Chelsea in this one. When that Lukaku first penalty went in, and then he scored a few minutes later, of course. Everyone thought it was game done, and then you could really see that on the pitch as well. Them slowing down, just playing just as they were the better team and everything, which in most aspects you could say that were. And then you had Wolves just completely keeping on breaking on the counter-attack, grinding down that Chelsea defence, which was just too much for him in the end. Cody with that 97th minute winner, which was just absolutely nuts at that point. Just absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, Chelsea got to keep the consistency up, need to stop getting complacent right at the end, grind it out till the end. As we've seen so many times this season, football lasts for 90 minutes, maybe even more. You've got to play till the end. You can't just get 2 goals, think your game is over and down tools. I mean, come on, Chelsea had 9 shots, 6 on target, 60% possession. There's no way they should be drawing these sorts of games, or even just losing. Or even getting close to losing. But yeah, great result for Wolves. Apart from that, they're pushing once again for Europe. But yeah, I mean, good first season, and his name's gone out of my head, hasn't it? No, the other one, Lage.
Bruno Lage.
Yeah, I think Wolves have done very, very well this season, 100%. And I think they deserve to be given a lot of credit. Reece, are you surprised where Wolves are in the table, considering that obviously they got rid of Nuno last season, and Jose Sa came in to replace Rui Patricio? They've actually done a very good job, haven't they, Wolves? They've been very, very solid.
Yeah, they've been solid. I think the one thing that's been key for them is consistency with the manager. I hate this camera. I'm going to fucking throw it in the bin. The key consistency for me is is the defence and Jose Sa. I think Jose Sa for me should be given the Player of the Year award. Like overall, the whole Premier League, I really don't care. I think he should be Player of the Year for me. Although I'm probably going to have Liverpool and Man City fans crying at me in the live chat. Well, it's my opinion. I really don't care. But what he's done all year has actually improved that back four. Like Rui Patricio is all about like the modern sweeper keepers and all that. It's about commanding your area. Jose Sa isn't that type of goalkeeper, but he can distribute really well. But what he's done is he's given more assurance to Wolves' back line, and it's given them something to at least move forward. And I'll admit, even Bruno Lage has done very well himself. Like, he's got the team organised. He's maintained the same system, but he's got more out of the players. I think they were the best way to say is they were at a crossroads the end of last season about Nuno, where do they go from here? But instead, they've adapted to his methods a bit more. They're a bit more compact at the back. They very rarely concede goals, but when they do concede, it's 1 or 2 at a time. They very rarely concede more than 2, but when they do, it's like a blip. It doesn't happen for like 3-4 months on end.
Yeah.
And the attacking players are really gelled. And I think the one thing for them is they've got a variety of attacking players that's worked well with the back line. And the midfield. The midfield for them has been absolutely fantastic, but the key addition of Jose Sa for me under the manager has been fantastic, and where they are, they deserve it.
Yeah, I totally agree. George, are you a bit concerned for Chelsea's top 4 hopes?
Well, no, because I think it'd be quite funny if they slipped out. No, but I think it's quite interesting, really, because only a sort of few weeks ago, there was talks specifically as well, obviously, when Lukaku was brought in, and of course he has been, despite these 2 goals, relatively well taken, on his part, but obviously over the entire season he's been absolutely terrible, which a lot of people would have foreseen because he was terrible for Man United as well. He had a few flashes. Obviously, that night in Paris he was very valuable, obviously, with that brace, but there was few and far between. Obviously, touch of a lamppost, as we said many times. Despite how well he did for Inter Milan, but those sort of things you just can't. In a team like Chelsea, you need to have that sort of be able to build up play. You need to have a strong touch, and Lukaku's just doesn't fit into that Chelsea team whatsoever. They don't really play for him. There's no sort of. It was just a very poor signing. It'll be interesting to see in the summer whereabouts if he's going to be sold and so forth. As I said, I think for Chelsea there is a chance. I think results will probably go their way, so that they won't need too many points left. I think they'll somehow scrape through, which is quite amazing considering how poor their form has been over the last few weeks. Obviously, as a United fan, I'm hoping they can raise it one final game, if any. Obviously, in that FA Cup final that's coming up.
He ain't going to score in that. He isn't going to score.
No, not Lukaku. I mean the actual Chelsea team. Sorry, that's what I mean. Obviously Chelsea can somehow, despite their horrendous form, will somehow be able to raise it.
Let's hope so.
But I don't have too many good hopes because they have been, horrendous for many weeks. But yeah, it's obviously good news for Wolves. Quite pleased as well. Obviously, I think that was one of the only predictions that I got relatively correct when I did the table at the start of the season.
Yeah,
with having Wolves as high up as I did. I think I had them 9th. Obviously, they're 8th, so doing slightly better than even I foresaw. But they have done brilliantly. Obviously, Jose Sa, completely echo Reese's sentiments on him. He's been absolutely fantastic. A ridiculous player for them. Changed their fortunes dramatically. And obviously, full marks and full credit to Wolves, who sort of have had a very good season overall. With such a mean-spirited defence. But yeah, for Chelsea, I think they will scrape home for top 4 at the expense of one of the other London clubs.
Yeah, I think so as well. That North London derby is going to be so huge on Thursday evening. It's probably the biggest North London derby I can remember anyway, in terms of like Champions League hopes as well. But we'll go down the other results. Nathan, Brentford picked up a bit of form recently, 3-0 against Southampton.
They have. That's a very impressive win. I mean, if you said that Pontus Jansson was going to get a Premier League goal last year, or even 2 years ago, I would have shot you, quite frankly. Fair play to him. Christoph Ayer getting a goal as well. Very, very good Brentford performance yet again. But Southampton, dear, oh dear, that defence. And I mean, they're on the beach. As I say all the time, Southampton, their form is like a wave. So you get like 3 games where they're really good, and then you just have like 6 or 8 games in a row where they just lose everything. I'm sorry, but how do you lose 3-0 when you have 19 shots and 4 on target and still concede that many? That is absolutely appalling. I mean, they had 60% possession as well, just absolutely ruined on the counter-attack. That defence, Bednarek, Salisu, Walker-Peters, it's just not working at all. And losing Liverpool Morento to injury as well has really cost them too. If I'm honest, a bit more in midfield as well to partner up with Ward-Prowse on the wing. To be honest as well, I don't think their formation works for them. To be fair, I think Southampton would be more suited to a 5 at the back. Play with the wing backs. Have Adam Armstrong as a shadow striker. Brozier up front. Play Liverpool Morento as a left wing back when he's back from injury. Get them overlapping. Same with Walker-Peters. There's a full-on right back. I don't think it's his right position for him. But Brentford, if they continue to play like they have been, and get additions for next season as well, then they're going to be pressing up the table next year, because that team is absolutely superb, especially if they keep the likes of Ericsson, Ivan Toney, and Buemo as well.
Yeah,
I like that.
I mean,
Just the back of that system. I like that suggestion, but there's one thing I think alternatively that Southampton could do, and for me, their best football under Hasenhüttl was when he used a diamond midfield. I think when he played a diamond and he had, even though he was using Redmond, etc., as narrow central midfield players, even though they're wingers, it did seem to work. I think Redmond out wide, he doesn't have that winger's instinct for me, you know, like up and down the field and like can tuck in. I think when he's actually more central, he's more on the ball, he's more confident, then he drifts out. And I think if they were to go 5 at the back, I do have a problem with that for me. Like, the reason I do that is because I look at their midfield options and maybe only 2 of them can realistically cope, and they don't have an option to play. Like, they could play a 5-3-2, but I think they only have, in terms of midfielders, are actually good enough to watch. It's just Ward-Prowse and Romeo for me personally. I think they're the only 2 they actually have that's actually quite decent. I don't think their other midfielders are particularly good. And in terms of forward options, they haven't got enough to play as a front 3. They can only basically do Broja and Armstrong, or Broja and Che Adams, or one of the other. They can't necessarily do a front 3. They can only necessarily do a front 2. The only thing they're going to do is if they try to get an attacking player in there like Redmond, and they play him potentially as a number 10, and then they play 5-2-1-2. But the problem with that is they just don't. I don't think necessarily they've got the right centre backs to play in that system either. Because I've looked at them, and obviously in terms of Brentford, I like watching Brentford play. They've got the team perfectly placed to play a back 3 or a back 5, depending on your transition. Southampton don't do that. I think Southampton be screwed. I think narrow systems are best bet.
I mean, the other thing is as well, we have to say, impressive. Brentford are 12th with 43 points. What a season they have had. Like, when you consider that they had a bit of a sticky middle spell in the season, they're sitting 12th, and you know they are safe as well. Like, I actually had Brentford to actually stay up. I had them to finish 17th, but I think they've exceeded expectations. You know, if they were.
Yeah,
They could still get a top half finish. That's the crazy thing about it. They could potentially still get a top half finish. I think they've got Leeds.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I am as well. I think they've got Leeds on the last day of the season. I think they've got to go to Everton, I think, as well. So, you know, two pretty good games for them as well. We will come on to the relegation battle very, very shortly. But I will get the Manchester United lot out of the way, because Brighton 4, Manchester United 0.
Get the popcorn out, baby.
I mean,
I'm going to give the whole thing to George on this one, because obviously mitigating circumstances, which Doug knows, I am not in the right state of mind to talk about Man United after what happened on Friday. So I'm going to give it all to George.
What I will say, though, is that the word embarrassing has been talked about so many times. It's been once too many times this season. Liverpool 5-0 at Old Trafford, 4-1 against Watford, 4-2 against Leicester, 4-1 against City. I think you lost 3-1 against Arsenal as well. It's just one too many results. This has to be the worst Manchester United side I can remember, George, surely.
I mean, yeah, to be honest with you, it's, as you said, it's just been one humiliation after another. Not so much one too many as about 10 too many this season. I think, you know, there's been too many false dawns as well. There's been, you know, obviously against Brentford, who we've sort of been talking about. We obviously, you know, beat them quite comfortably in the previous game. But of course, with Brentford, what they did, it seemed quite silly, really. But Brentford sort of sat off quite a lot. It seemed almost as though they didn't care too much about that match. Which, you know, and obviously when you give United a lot of time and space, that's when they can. You know, I think any team really struggles not to beat a team that gives them that amount of time and space. And it was a bit of a false result in some ways. And of course, reality bites again. We're going obviously to the Brighton game that we're talking about. When, I mean, ultimately the defence is. I've said it before. Obviously, for me, and I've said this, many weeks ago. The defence is the priority. Unfortunately, I don't think the club will see it that way. I don't think they'll bring in the signings in that area. But the defence, obviously, most goals I think now conceded in any Premier League season, absolute shit from all four of them. Obviously, Varane as well, not to a lesser extent because obviously we know that what his qualities are. But obviously, Delo, unfortunately, is just absolutely atrocious. His positional sense is absolutely abysmal. He makes mistakes constantly. He can't mark. He goes to ground too easily. He never stays on his feet. He is just shite. Alex Telles, absolute crap as well. Pretty much exactly the same sort of issues. Goes to ground too easily. Can't defend. He never marks his man. Lindelof as well. I mean, the thing is about Lindelof is that I don't actually think he has a strength. I think he's just weak in all areas of defensive play, and it's not escaped my notice that in all the humiliating defeats that we've suffered this season, he's been literally always a defender, and it's because he does what McTominay does, which is he becomes a little ghost and he just disappears whenever the ball. He's just whenever you see a goal that we've conceded, it doesn't look like Lindelof's at fault, but actually Lindelof's absolutely nowhere to be seen. So he's at fault by omission. The fact that he's always like hiding, he does it on purpose as well. Multiple goals again yesterday. Obviously the legs fucking wide open for the first goal. Second or third goal again, absolute shite. In fact, I think it's both of them. Just not marking anyone. Varane as well was very lucky, obviously, that Welbeck's crap as well, because obviously on that when it went all the way over the top and he just decided to give him a little pass through. That was shit. But obviously with Varane, as I said, there's quality there, and I think he's just a bit of a sort of casualty of the fact that he always plays with three shit players. And yeah, ultimately it was such a terrible game. I can't even say it's sort of boring really to say it over and over again, because to be honest with you, I've been critical of all these players for so many times. McTominay as well is one of those players that really does piss me off, and it's every single game, and it's just him being on the field. It's just every time that I see him trying to fight with other players instead of actually trying to win the ball back, he's always like throwing his arms around, kicking players, trying to rugby tackle and wrestle them. He's just absolute shit. And
agreed.
It was sort of compounded by the fact on social media, again, I sort of on TikTok, the Manchester United admin on TikTok had uploaded this video of saying, "Oh, what a turn by McTominay here in training," and it was one of those.
That's the sort of videos where you just want to punch the fuck out of them.
Yeah, that was for me. I was literally I was that was sort of like the straw that broke the camel's back, because McTominay is just such, and we just always play him again. So ultimately, major surgery needed in the summer. I don't think we'll get enough of a surgery that we need in this summer either, because we probably need at least. I think people are even lowballing now with 6 or 8. I think it's probably even more than that. But I think we'll probably get at most probably 5. Hopefully the board, now that they obviously binned off that prick judge. Hopefully there's going to be.
He's gone. Yeah, he is. He is definitely gone. He's definitely gone.
Hopefully there's going to be a bit more rapidity.
And he's two clowns and scouting have been fucked off as well for being incompetent fucking cockwombles.
But hopefully there's going to be a bit quite a lot of activity in the transfer market, because boy, do we need it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, specifically, obviously the Liverpool results and City results were really horrible as well. Obviously, both times in both fixtures, obviously, with both of them. But it's even worse when it's against, because when it's against shit. Because obviously, I don't want to say too many bad things about Brighton, but their record at home has been terrible. They struggle to score, and yet we've let in 4 against them, and they've beaten us. And that's when it's getting really bad. Obviously, against Watford was the final straw for Ollie, but again, Brighton are not. They're just not good. Obviously, Welbeck is not a good player, but obviously, what I'm sort of coming to is the fact that Man United are just shit, and the fact that we got beaten 4-0 by a team like Brighton shows how shit we really are, and that's all I'd like to say.
I'll say another thing as well. It's on the back of the comments with McTominay. At least now it shuts down the comments. Like, even though he's not a great player, it shuts down the comments about who you actually want your team between Fred and McTominay. Now, yes, I think George, George has been at me all season about Fred, but the difference is though is like at least Fred actually fucking works. He has a few issues, but with an actual coach, Fred only has to improve on two things: one, withstanding challenges, and two, passing the ball. And I was laughing at comments on social media about like fucking McTominay stands saying, "Oh, McTominay winning tackles, doing everything." McTominay didn't win a fucking single duel, whereas Fred was on the field for 45 minutes and he won 7 out of 9. But apparently Fred can't win a fucking duel to save himself. Well, there you go, McTominay fans, you headless fucking cunts. Get that down your throats.
Take nothing away from Brighton. They were terrific on Saturday, but United made it so easy for them. The goals were avoidable. Ella says, I'm not happy, but if I didn't laugh, I'd cry. It wasn't me. I was nowhere near the ball. I don't know what that's about. But one person that...
I was going to say, George, don't worry. Me and you can meet in Northern Ireland when Glenavon play United in the European Conference League. All right, so look at that as a positive.
The thing is,
he's even going to be in Europe.
As the table stands, I think West Ham will get beaten by City, but it will then mean it's the final day of the season. And if we lose to Palace, and the fact is, I think we've lost 5 in a row away from home, so that's probably
it's goal difference as well.
Yeah, West Ham's goal difference means that if they beat, I can't remember who they're playing on the final day of the season, but if they beat them, we lose to Palace.
I'll tell you now.
So I think.
Yeah, they've got a fairly easy final fixture. I'll tell you just now.
Is it Southampton?
I'm sure it is. Sure. Yeah,
it is Southampton.
Yep, Southampton.
Yeah, they'll win that. One person that really stood out in this game, Nathan, was Moises Caicedo. Now, if everyone's watched my obviously World Cup videos, I actually mentioned Moises Caicedo as probably one of the ones to watch. How good was he at the weekend?
Oh, he was absolutely fantastic. Playing all round, really clinical in that defence, paired up with Basuma as well. But call me biased.
No, it's not. Sorry, it's Brighton. Brighton away is our last game of the season.
Oh,
that's going to be difficult.
They've never been Brighton as well.
Nope, but they will this time.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I think they will as well. Declan, sadly true. Race has been in the Ram Snakes tonight, George.
How's that even possible?
I know it's pretty mental. What we will do now, we will go into the relegation battle. Well, bye Watford. I mean, Josh, Watford Zaha ending Watford's stay in the Premier League. Roy Hodgson bowing out as a Premier League manager at the end of the season. I have to say, I actually laughed at this. He didn't acknowledge the Watford fans. He was getting a massive round of applause from all 4 sides of Selhurst Park. I thought that was hilarious.
No, the guys doesn't give a fuck about Watford. Why would you? They're going down. You're retiring. See you later. Thanks for the money. That's pretty much the way I see it. That Watford team was built so badly. Like, they just have no quality across the pitch. Like, their defense was probably worse. I know not statistically, but their defense was probably just as bad as what Norwich's was. You know, the team from top to bottom was an utter shambles. You know, they tried Daniel Batchman in goal at the start of the season. He was awful. You know, Ben Foster's still okay, but he's past it. Dennis was okay, but you know, he was something special in midfield too. I don't even know who their midfielders are. I couldn't even name them. And in their defence, you know, they're playing Craig Cathcart at right back. And
no. You're missing one person, Musa Sissoko.
What
a bad signing that's been.
Sissoko. I remember watching Match of the Day, and all you see was Sissoko sky shots into the stands. It was brilliant. And like, even the managerial, like, first, why did they sack their first manager? That was just dumb. He was doing
that was dumb. Yeah,
and then it was pretty stupid. But the thing that I remember seeing Watford fans about, and I think James from Watford Way mentioned it as well. Was just about the style of play and the way that they were building throughout the season. They saw these red flags and they were like, sack him straight away. And I was like,
Ranieri, did you know his film record? And still not a manager. Like, I love Claudio. Like, Claudio Ranieri is a fantastic guy. And I don't know if anybody's seen what happened in the European Conference League semi-final at Roma, when the Roma and Leicester fans all stood up and giving him applause. That was amazing. But like, he's done as a manager now. He's just past it. And then
he is. The thing I love about when Claudio Ranieri went there was a manager who loves getting sacked went to a club that loves sacking managers. Work that one
It's
out.
it just really sense. I mean, Roy Hodgson, fair enough, but Roy Hodgson never had enough to keep my Watford team up. They were asking for trouble. But let's be honest, we're going to see them and Norwich up in the Premier League again, aren't we? Now? In a couple of seasons' time, it's the two young clubs.
I think definitely Watford, because if you look at that team, it's actually
It might be championship level, but the Premiership level are an absolute diabolical.
Yeah, boy,
matches
I
now.
don't think Danny Rose is at Watford anymore. I don't think he is.
No,
I
he
think
he is still there. He just didn't get registered in January.
He's just.
Oh,
He is
right. Well,
He is still offer player. Just didn't
Just
get registered.
hibernating. I mean, some of the players that they even have on their bench, Adam Messina is absolutely brilliant as that left back. I mean, play him in a
he's
five
probably
back
going to
system.
he's probably going to be picked by Morocco in the World Cup.
100%. 100%. And even with Troost-Ekong as well. Like, get a good manager in that Watford side. They can stay up in the Prem. For me. But
Yeah, definitely.
just
But
absolutely stupid
too little, too late.
managerial decisions.
Yeah, it's too little, too late. And
100%.
Roy
it's
Hodgson.
just
Roy Hodgson definitely went there for our last paycheck.
Yeah.
That's the
oh
way
yeah, yeah.
I thought it was a panic signing for me as well, because realistically, if you look at who was available at the time, there wasn't really anyone who would want to go straight there, because it's not a long-term job.
No,
they weren't really going to stay up. The mentality was low,
Oh.
so it was just a mess for him from start to finish, really.
no. Well, what? I think if people had predicted at the start of the season, I think you would have had Norwich 20th and
Yeah.
Watford 19th. That's what I had anyway.
I
had
I
Watford
had-
20th.
That's exactly
and
what
I'm
I
quite
had.
annoyed, really, because obviously they should be 20th. They're on 22 points, and obviously Norwich on 21. But obviously the 4 points they got against us, because we're fucking shit, and we're the only team that have got a terrible record, have somehow managed to mean that they're 19th instead of 20th, which is where they should be, where I predicted them. So
Well, I had Norwich 19th and Brentford 20th.
Crazy.
Yeah, shame on you and Brentford anyway.
You deserve this.
Yeah. Well, another twist in the relegation battle. Well, actually, will we come to Norwich 0, West Ham 4? I mean, yeah, Nathan, West Ham just smashed Norwich to pieces at the weekend.
Absolutely. That Norwich team has just absolutely given up, hasn't it? And even when you look at it, it's such a bad squad. I mean, even in the chat, I don't know what's his name, Daniel Farke used to do with that team. Genuinely, he was working miracles with it. But when he got into the Prem,
You know what he was doing with that team? He was sending them to Delia so she can get farked every Sunday. Simple.
Exactly, you know. They're not going to have any of that next season. Let's face it, half of that team is not going to be there at all. I mean, Gilmore's going back. Brandon Williams is going back. Tim Krul, I can't see him sticking around. Same with Max Aarons and Timu Pukki. Well, he doesn't score anymore, does he?
Yeah, boy.
Be in a mess next season.
Yeah, boy. I'm going to say this now.
If
you don't beat Norwich, then I think Brendan Rodgers deserves to be sacked on the spot for that, because Norwich are so bloody poor this season. They have been horrendously bad. Really, really bad. Funnily enough, I actually said Leicester would win 5-0, so yeah, we'll see, because Norwich are conceding goal after goal after goal after goal, so no pressure. No pressure. I did see a comment that actually made me laugh. Norwich should be banned from the league for a few seasons.
I agree.
100%.
Remember my plan. It's called the Strippers League. It's Norwich, Watford,
Fulham,
West Brom, and there's one
Bournemouth.
more in there. Bournemouth are now in there. It's called the Strippers League. You win the championship, you're excluded from the Premier League, you go into this league. No competition. You should be banned for the FA Cup, banned for the Carabao Cup. You just battle for top stripper pole. That should literally be their plan. And if you lose the Strippers League, then back to the championship.
Yeah. If they do, is there any danger they fill their stadium? Oh, is this about City? Oh, will City succeed in buying the Champions League next year? Ooh.
City and stadium fills.
Yeah. Any bets on Norwich win the championship again next season? Probably. They're too good for the championship. They're way too good.
I don't know about next season.
Depends on Huddersfield for me. Depends on Huddersfield for me if they lose the playoff
and
final.
if Forest go up as well.
Even we beat Norwich twice, yeah. Promote Swansea instead to make Nathan
no
happy.
more small clubs in the Prem. Get the big club.
Them and Rotherham United are proper yo-yo clubs, Helen. Too good for League One and crap for the other. Yeah, Rotherham are back in the Championship. They won't be lasting long. Leicester, no great shakes either. Not Norwich, bad, but bad.
Wigan as well.
Aye. Indeed. Arsenal 2, Leeds 1. Leeds United are now in the relegation zone, but they contributed to their own downfall, Reese. I mean, what on earth was Luke Ayling thinking when he went in to challenge Martinelli? I said immediately, red card. I can't believe Chris Kavanagh gave a yellow to begin with. It should have been a straight red immediately.
English referees. Mic drop. Everybody knows how much I hate Leeds. But then again, I also hate Arsenal, and the fact that Arteta's going to get them potentially in the top 4 makes me ill. But he's got them playing good football. But on the other hand, Manky Marsh is proving exactly what I've said about him. He's god awful as a manager. I told Leeds fans when he got the job, be in for a ride.
James was Melly Stack Stefan in disguise.
I wouldn't even put them in that bracket. They're both equally shit. There is one thing for me about Leeds though, is I really did not understand Ireland's approach. Like, it was the same with Rafinha, like technically sound player, just going like 1970s Leeds players all of a sudden. Like, there's no need. Like, you're in a game where potentially. To be fair, looking at Arsenal in recent games, they've been playing really well. But if you play them quickly off the ball, and with the ball, to be honest, if you can get at Arsenal really quickly, you can cause them problems. So I think if Leeds had actually done that, with the front players they've got, that includes fucking Daniel James, because he actually has got the pace to go at their fullbacks.
Yeah.
Leeds could have got something against Arsenal, but instead they decided to go into full kamikaze mode. And Luke Ayling getting a red card that he deserves reflects that. And once he went with that 10-men advantage, Arsenal were on boost control. They didn't really have to do anything. And once they had that advantage with the goals in them, that was it. The one goal back from Leeds though did give Arsenal a scare, but I think it was more or less too little, too late. The game was already in their hands.
I do have to ask though, what did Jesse March say in the change room before that game for Leeds to go out and play like they did? What did he have to say for Leeds to get the impression of, let's not defend and let's kick the legs of the Arsenal players?
I think I know exactly what he said. Lads, there's free cheeseburgers at the end of this match. Let's go do this. All for one.
The red card was completely obvious.
He made them play like Leeds.
Yeah. The red card is completely obvious. We can all tell with the way he dived in there, apart from the ref who booked him in the first place. Leeds United have now had 96 bookings this season, a Premier League record. So
it shows it's a team that has no discipline and defence coached into them. You know, they have no discipline, organisation, or standards, and and that's came from Bielsa. Well, Bielsa and Jesse March, because they both have the same philosophy. Just Jesse March is a poor man's Bielsa in terms of trying to play.
No. Marsh claims he's a more pragmatic version. Well, if he's pragmatic, then I'm the Pope, because there's no way, shape, or form is he pragmatic. Like, the guy's an awful manager. Like, he's awful.
I am seeing, I watched a bit of Leipzig under him, especially mainly the Champions League, and I take the game that he was Leipzig manager, and you just see exactly the same issues that Leipzig team had that this Leeds team has, and I think someone Doug was probably going to ask this question at some point, but I do think I think Leeds are the one going down, because out of the two teams that are contesting with Burnley and Everton, they look 10 times. Everton and Burnley are going in the right direction under Jackson and Lampard. Leeds are going the other direction, and you just don't see how they get results in their last 3 games.
That's a good
and the fact they've not beaten Brighton since 2017 at home either, so that's their next home game. Actually, their next home game is against Chelsea. Yeah, that game is very difficult to predict, in my opinion. I mean, I look at that game and Chelsea will probably heavily rotate for that game, I would think, as well, considering that they got the FA Cup as well. But it's just, you're absolutely right. Leeds are going one way, and that is down. But James, I know you'll be happy about this. Leicester 1, Everton 2. Now, if anyone saw my Twitter yesterday, I actually predicted Everton to win away at Leicester. it actually came through, and I'm stunned because I actually said on this this very, very show that I did not see Everton getting any more points away from home. But look what's happened. They've gone to Leicester. They won by 2-1. Yes, I know they conceded the Batendaka goal. Mikolenko's goal is an absolute stunning strike. Anyway, and Mason Holgate scoring, which is very surprising. But it's Leicester City from corners. Let me just say that. But George, it's been a massive 2 weeks for Everton. That big win against Chelsea and then that huge win against Leicester City. Are they now potentially going to be safe, considering that the run that they've got now? They have Watford away, I think it's Brentford at home, Palace at home, and then Arsenal away. So potentially could easily be safe by the time they went to the Emirates.
They could be, but and you are right. Obviously, it's something again that I think even obviously a few weeks ago when we were sort of doing the last podcast as well. I think a lot of us were sort of saying that Everton were, looking at, as you quite as you sort of said, they didn't look as though they were going to garner any more points because they were absolutely terrible at that juncture. Obviously, the defence has been a concern for them throughout the entire season. Obviously, beating us was as almost all those weeks ago has almost served as a springboard really for them to accruing more points, and from a position of where it looked as though it was going to be peril and potential relegation, they're now sort of really in that thick of that battle. What I would say is though, and is that because it is so close between those three teams, it is very, very difficult to see which team is going to go down. I really don't think you can say definitively that any of them are going to stay up or any of them are going to go down, because it literally is like on a knife edge. And even though obviously you can sort of work out the games that certain teams have got easier or harder games, I actually don't think it even comes down to that. I think it just comes down to which teams want it more. I think it's going to be that the mentality of those three teams. Who are the teams that can grind out those results? From Everton's sort of standpoint, I do obviously, as I sort of said in the chat earlier, I do think it's going to be Leeds, which I'd said prior to this round of games. But
you did.
I think it's going to be. It's just way too close to call. Only because obviously with Everton, for example, obviously just coming back to them, that goal that Leicester scored, it was again obviously it's almost, I'm not sort of laughing too much at it, but because obviously Man United's defence was even shitter this weekend than Everton's was, but that was comical defending. The way that Leicester scored that goal, if that's the same sort of stuff that they're going to continue to do. With the best will in the world, again, I think Leicester have been very indifferent this season. I think they sort of go from one good result to one bad result, one good result to one bad result, and so it's very difficult to use them as a sort of litmus test. And I think against other teams, I think Everton might struggle again because that defence is very, very poor. Their only sort of salvation, though, is that I think Leeds' defence is even worse. Obviously now Ayling will be missing through suspension as well, and I just think their defence is and obviously the goals against Colin backs this up as well. Obviously, quite clearly that Leeds' defence is even worse than Everton's, and obviously Everton as well. Obviously as an Englishman, with Jordan Pickford, he was phenomenal for us, obviously in the Euros, and this recently as well for Everton. For me, the save of the season. A week or so ago from him, and again he's pulling out some ridiculous saves again. So I think his form has been absolutely key for Everton, and obviously we've got on the sort of flip side of the coin, as we spoke about with Leeds, you've got Meilier who's making horrific error for Nketiah. So the goalkeeper is important, the defence is important, and I think Everton will be okay, but again, it really is almost like a 33.3 recurring % of any of those three teams for me. It's just so close. But obviously Leeds have got that horrific goal difference against them. So I'm just slightly edging towards them.
I think for me, the one key, and I agree with you, is about the goalkeeper situation. Another thing for me is I think if you were to narrow it down out the three goalkeepers, Pope, Pickford, Meilier, the one that is going to be the one that's going to be a problem is Meilier. But then again, though, you look at attacking options, and I think you're more going to favour it towards Leeds. I think Leeds have got the more aggressive attacking players, whereas Everton have got a model who's trying to get his way into the Versace Versace house. Burnley are Burnley have got Weghorst, who's went from a player that could save their season to very inconsistent, but he's still got that frame. He could potentially link in with their play, but they're relying on Cornet, and he's not getting enough. McNeil's dropped off, and so they've virtually got nothing. And I just look at Leeds and I'm thinking, the only thing for Leeds is all they're missing realistically is a commanding centre half, a goalkeeper. If they want to play building from the back, they need a keeper that's actually comfortable in his box. Because Melly, I think he's just not. I think he's got the potential to do it. He's a
little bit rash, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not up here yet, and I think that's something he needs to get wound back into him. And they're missing, I think he's a shower of shit, they're missing Bamford. And I think if they had Bamford around, I think they would have more goals in them. They're playing Dan James as centre forward. All the respect to him, and even though I don't rate him, I do feel sorry for him. Like, he shouldn't be playing in that position. He should be where he is, and that's out wide. If you're going to play someone through the middle, like they've got Gelhardt, they've got Rodrigo still, even though Rodrigo's a shower of shit. This could be his chance to at least showcase if he's actually got it in the Premier League. You want to save your season, at least give him a chance. But it's very unlikely, and I just look at where they're using a winger as a centre forward, and he can't do the role, and it's what's costing Leeds. But I think if you were to put your money on it, I think the Cockroaches will survive. I think Everton with Pickford, they could narrowly get a 1-0 win if they wanted to, if they can keep a clean sheet. Whereas Leeds have to hope that they can score 3 and the opposition score 2. They have to go and try and outgun teams because they don't.
I think losing Dallas is massive as well.
I agree with you, and that's where it comes down to me. Is Leeds have got to score goals. Pickford just needs to be on form, and you have to hope that Richarlison scores the goals because Versace is currently trying to negotiate terms with the worst model in English football.
Yeah, definitely. Hello, Neil. Hi, we are shit. Goodbye. Brendan Rodgers is a very small man who's with smelly feet, and Illa's golden high, good people. On Wednesday, we've got to be Watford and win our last 2 home games, says James. Yeah, I'm going to actually ask you all around the room, should Brendan Rodgers be sacked?
Yes.
No. As you know, I don't like Brendan Rodgers. Yes.
Leicester, take the cups out of it. Leicester, in the Premier League have not been good for a while now. He's constantly changed. He's constantly changing the shape. There isn't much of style. There isn't much chemistry. I think a lot of players are.
I think he doesn't like Brendan Rodgers that much that he's frozen.
Yeah, no, man. It's George might remember. We got the internet installed, and right now it's not good. It's not worse. It's going to be better. No, but like Leicester.
Chris.
Leicester I just don't see how Leicester are improved. I think he doesn't know the best formation. He doesn't know the best system. The whole set piece defending he hasn't changed. I don't know how the hell he hasn't changed it, but that is what it is. I don't think a lot of players are playing for him. I don't think some players are playing in their best position. It just has that. It just screams to me that it's one of these situations where a new voice in that changing room for an amazing squad, but for a good squad for Leicester's level, I think Leicester are definitely underachieving this season. I know he says they're overachieving, but they're not. They're underachieving, and a new voice, maybe a new fresh young manager would suit that squad perfectly. But I don't think he will get sacked because Leicester aren't.
My only concern is if they sack him, who do they bring in? Because I'm just
Big Sean Dyche. Big Sean Dyche.
Lucien Favre was a rumor to be.
That's a red flag.
I would not bring him into Leicester.
If you know your football, you avoid Lucien Favre. That's a red flag. But
sacked after a 5-1 defeat at home to VfB Stuttgart. Yeah, no, all right.
Exactly. I think the only thing realistically for Leicester is if you are going to sack him, you do it during the summer because you don't do what Liverpool did in 7 years ago, where you give him 300 million and then you draw to Everton and then you sack him after a derby. If you're going to get rid of him, you've got to do it this summer. Yeah. But I just don't know. I don't know where they go. I don't know where they go from here. The squad is good.
No,
Their squad is good.
You have to say that their owners are probably the best run owners in the Premier League. They are not afraid to make a decision. So that could be something this says. We have gone 49 minutes, and we will speak about the title race because Manchester City are now 3 points clear after a 5-0 win over Newcastle. I mean, I won't lie, I could see this coming a mile off, especially after them losing to Real Madrid midweek. I just knew that the next team, whoever plays them, we're going to get absolute hiding. And Liverpool dropped points by drawing 1-1 with Tottenham. So, Josh, title race over now?
I do think so, yes. I think Liverpool will slightly start thinking about the FA Cup and the Champions League final now, given the points difference. If City drop points between now and then maybe you could refocus. But I just can't see City dropping many points. They have suffered 3 big injuries now for the last 3 games, and was it Diaz, Stones, Walker? I think it was. First down, they're going to have to play Fernandinho centre back. Nathan Ake is going to be out for the midweek game, so that could cause an issue. But I think their attack is going to win the games. You know he has, and Pep will play more possession-based football than he ever has now to stop anybody attacking that defence. So I think Liverpool have got bigger fish to fry. And I think, to be honest, if there was one game you've seen Liverpool losing, it was, or not losing, but dropping points, it was that Spurs game, because Antonio Conte.
100%.
Antonio Conte is a master at going to places like, Anfield, or going to, these bigger places and frustrating the absolute hell out of the other team, and just somehow nicking a lucky. It was a good goal Spurs score, but it was kind of just that lucky one chance. And arguably they could have won it, because they missed some really, really good opportunities, especially in the first half. I think Liverpool got slightly fortunate with the deflected goal. So, but I think I just can't see City drop. I think City will win. I don't even think they'll drop points. I think they'll just win the remaining games of the season, and Liverpool will focus on Real Madrid and in Paris.
Yeah, definitely. Nathan, is it over for you?
For me, 100% over. Liverpool just concentrate on getting the FA Cup and also the Champions League now as well, because Man City, you're both on the same amount of games, I believe, as well, aren't you? Man City, if they're ahead, they're just going to win everything at this point. They've got a nice run in here, so it's over, unfortunately. And you can see that with how Man City are playing their football, winning your 5-0s, your 4-0s, the lot.
Yeah, Reece?
I think there's still potentially one more drama to come, and City's next game is against West Ham in London.
Yeah, so that's not easy.
It's going to really have an impact. I still think the league is going to Manchester City, but I think West Ham could potentially decide it. I mean, that's no easy game. West Ham are fighting for the Europa League, so obviously they just mathematically have to do better than United in their last couple of games of the season, and they've got the Europa League. And the way they're playing, West Ham could do, because there'll be extra motivation for them losing the semi-final in the Europa League. So there is potentially something there for them. My only thing is City's momentum. They just completely stifled the ball against Newcastle. I mean, 99% possession in a second half has never been done before, and yet that just sums up for me. If they really want to suffocate play, they can do it with ease. They just need to keep the ball. But I just look at it and think there could potentially be one more. There could be one more slip to go, but. Then again, though, Spurs are the only team this year unbeaten against Liverpool and Manchester City.
That's true.
They've got 8 points of both. They've beaten City twice and 2 draws of Liverpool. It just reflects just how good they've been against them. So I think it's a matter of Spurs know how to play against these two, and I suppose you just have to. I think you just need to make phone calls if you really want to do well against Liverpool. Just make a phone call, but. I'm just looking at it as the funniest comment I've heard all season. I just had to put it in there. But just as a matter of reflection, I think there's potentially one more hurdle. It could happen. I don't want it to happen, but it could. But I'm just looking and I'm thinking, if City come away maximum points against West Ham, then it's over.
Yeah, I think so as well. George?
I agree with Reese. I think it's also because both he and I really want Liverpool not to win it. So it's you're even more sort of careful about how you think things, because I think a lot of people do think it is over, but it's unfortunately it never is over. They've still got to win those games, as Josh has sort of said. They are missing some key players now as well, for the matches. But I think obviously their attack is absolutely sensational. Obviously Cancelo in particular is what an amazing player he really is, which I've said many times over this season. The headed assist, obviously, for the opening Sterling goal was just sort of summed him up. Really, it's just an unbelievable player, especially for a fullback to be so, to be such an all rounder, really, and such a progressive player, and just absolutely fabulous player. So yeah, I think City will do it. I think maybe the Wolves game is for me where I think there might be a chance for drop points. But hopefully, I think obviously, as we know, all they need to do is beat West Ham, beat Wolves, and obviously then by the final day, I know obviously you guys were all thinking that Gerrard was going to do you a solid on that final day of the season, but hopefully by that point it means that it doesn't actually need. They can even lose, but if only, obviously it's so close, isn't it? They can even lose maybe by like one goal and still manage to win the title. Which it's just a lesson of two evils really, City winning it. But I think City will win it. But I'm hoping they do, just because, as I said, it'd be horrendous if Liverpool did.
I have to say, I think we've done very, very well to get to week 36. I think we've done very, very well to get it. But not to be Douglas the Lionheart. How many days now? 55, Liz. 55 until I get married, and 57 until we go on honeymoon. So it's not long at all. I thought the kickoff time for your game against Tottenham on Saturday, Bill, was a disgrace. Sky, BT, and other TV companies are a joke. Ruben Amorim being reported as a potential Roberts replacement. Very interesting. Helen, I believe in forgiveness. Right, we will go on to... Well, we'll give Nathan this one because the championship has ended, and it has meant that the playoff games are going to be Huddersfield against Luton and Sheffield United against Nottingham Forest. You were at Derby. Very, very good victory in the end. But is it a season where you just look back on and glad to be over?
100%. This is, for me, the worst season ever in my lifetime. I remember my dad saying it's the worst one he's ever seen as well. Loads of people. Well, let's have a recap of what we have gone through this season. 4 Derby losses, losing the double for the first time in 110 years, going on our longest losing streak in the club's history, having a ridiculous amount of players out of contract, £110 million in debt, to the absolute disgusting scenes from today, where the board's just straight up dismissed an open letter from one of our second biggest supporters club. And any more just pop in the chat, just players frozen out, players having a go at fans. You're not fit to wear the shirt chants throughout the season. Just sacked in the morning, chants ringing out everywhere. I don't know where to start, to be honest. It's been an absolute disgrace. I mean, looking back at it now, I cannot think of anything positive to say about this season. And to be honest, it's an absolute disgrace. But aside from moving on to the playoffs, apart from that, this is one of the best. This will be one of the best playoff series ever. It's so even there. Great to see a side like Luton in there. Nottingham Forest, I want to see him back in the Premier League so bad. The way they've come this season from being bottom of the league.
Yeah. Did anyone see the Luton Town goal at the weekend?
Amazing.
Shades of Shay Given against Coventry. Dion Dublin scoring past Shay Given. I don't know what it was. Poor old day. Do you remember Neeland, the goalkeeper?
I did. What was he doing?
What was he doing?
Absolute shambles. But the thing is, though, I can sort of see which way one of the games is going to go, but it's that Luton Huddersfield one, and for me, out of everything, Forest are going to win the playoffs. even though they are absolutely terrible when it comes to this part of the season, they always. I don't think they've ever won the playoffs before in any league. But whoever goes through between Luton and Huddersfield, Forest are going to have a run for their money.
Helen,
United,
Nathan Jones got Championship Manager of the Year, by the way.
In a way, I don't agree with that. Personally, for me,
no, I don't agree with that either.
I mean, crazy to think as this as me coming from a Cardiff fan, but I think Steve Cooper should have had it, considering the way he turned around that Forest side so quick. I'll give him sympathy because he is a Cardiff fan in disguise anyway, but just absolutely how he did that was just amazing with the squad that they had. I mean,
also, am I right in saying that that what's his name is leaving Cardiff? Alex Smithies, is that right?
Yes, and I'm glad to see the back of him.
Are 100%. You getting Jack Alnwick?
Who would you say? Sorry, Doug.
You getting Jack Alnwick from St Mirren?
Yes, I've heard reports about that. I have my concerns about it, but at the end of the day, if we keep Phillips as our number one for the next season, then I'll. It's
funny because actually Aberdeen were the only other side that had an interest in Jack Alnwick before Cardiff did.
I did see that.
After seeing him first hand play for Rangers when he played now and then, he's fucking dog shit. No wonder we kept following him and had to beg Alan McGregor to come back.
I'm not surprised. And to be fair, I'd take Alan McGregor back in a heartbeat because I loved him when he was there.
He's a phenomenal people.
Here's one that I'll put forward to you as well. With David Marshall leaving QPR at the end of this season for you, for the Scottish League especially, could you see him having a second spell at Celtic? As like a number two to Joe Hart.
Maybe, but I'm just looking.
I heard Hibs were in for him.
I'm just looking at their options, and I think when he's played now and then, like Scott Bain's actually come into his own, like at times for Celtic. Yeah. I think he's actually improved a lot with Joe Hart. Like that experience is built of him, and they've got another goalkeeper as well. I can't remember his name, but he's actually playing. Might be, I can't remember, but he's a decent keeper. But I just look at Joe Hart and like he's just improved that defence a lot.
Oh,
I'd be surprised with Marshall. I think it'd be a lost cause. I think Hibs would actually be a smart move for them because obviously Sean Shite is gone, so he won't have to suffer him as a manager. But I'm just looking at it and I think it would be a wise move. But I think it's a big loss for you guys as well because that's crucial experience. Like I think you need something, but Jack Alnwick is a goalkeeper now. He is fucking awful, believe me. He can't even command his box.
Yeah, it's really the sort of last bit. I'm just split on it 50-50 to be honest.
Yeah.
But just looking at the current thing that we have, when that retained list comes out, we're barely going to have a starting 11. We won't have a starting 11. We'll have 8 players, and that's including youngsters as well.
I believe Preston have released 14 players today as well.
Yeah, they have. They have.
And one of them was Scott Sinclair as well.
His missus won't be happy. She'll be begging for a job back on fucking Corrie now.
Oh, I know. That makes me happy.
I agree, George.
Oh, she's with that Helen Flanagan lass, isn't he?
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of her. She does my head in.
With the championship this season, you're going to especially see that a lot as well because, in my opinion, you can categorise the teams in the championship this season on where the table is. So you've got your parachute teams at the top. Yeah. In the middle, you've got your ones who spent a little bit but have really reinforced and rebuilt over the last few seasons. You've got your mid-table teams, sort of the ones who are in that rebuild as well. Sort of they don't have much money, but are building it slowly with youngsters.
Mm.
Then you have the interesting bit. So from 17th down, you have the teams. Well, you can include Cardiff in that. Problems with owners, shambolic players who just don't play for the badge at all, and impending trouble in the future. And then you've got the relegation teams, i.e. Derby, who are in administration, like Reading, in a mess, overspending for years, and and are just being completely ruined by the EFL. So, a lot has to change with the system, but concerning.
We're talking about Cardiff. I'm just going to say former Cardiff manager Neil Harris, Gillingham bottling, going into the relegation zone. And his interview after the game, which was shit to the point.
Yeah,
anyway.
box office. there's
I
a couple
agree.
of people asking what the score is between Sheffield Wednesday and Sunderland. I can tell you it's 0-0, but I've actually just looked at the Sheffield Wednesday team. I can't believe they're starting goalkeeper Bailey Peacock Farrell.
That's bold.
The
That
fall
is
from
very
grace as
bold.
well.
Do they want to lose?
Yeah. The Sunderland team is my gosh.
Who's their manager again?
Alex Neil.
Oh God.
And look who they
Alex
had
Neil.
before that as well. They had the car salesman, Lee Johnson, even worse.
Yeah. But there's a couple of players in there that were from the Sunderland Till I Die series. Gooch, 09, Pritchard, Bath, crikey, and I think that's it. So for Ross Stewart from Ross County, of course. But, well, speaking of Scotland, two things happened this weekend. Unfortunately for East, Celtic are all but confirmed champions, and Dundee are all but relegated. Oh, I am going to enjoy Sunday. Just seeing Dundee get relegated. It'd be lovely. It'd be lovely if Livingston could actually hammer Dundee as
Norwich,
well. But I have to say,
SPFL.
Reese, congratulations, Rangers, getting into the Europa League Final.
Yeah, fantastic that was. And
Although mixed feelings for you, though.
I had pretty much. I had people telling me all season that they weren't going to get far. They were going to get pumped off Dortmund. They weren't going to get past Braga and all that. And here's me telling them, like, go fuck yourselves. Like, I've said it before. Like, when Van Bronckhorst got the job, I said, like, he is the right man for the job. But the one thing I did say is his style of play is going to be best in league games away from Europe. Away from the league. Sorry, and it's reflective of that. Like, our league form has been hot and cold. It's had moments.
Did anyone see that?
It was so funny.
Oh yeah.
What is Charlie Adam thinking?
I was pissing myself. It was so funny. But the reflection of it, like Van Bronckhorst, like in terms of his team, like, it hasn't been particularly great in the league. Like, we've had some results where we should have done better. Some matches where generally the team just couldn't be bothered. But in Europe, in the cup games, we've certainly reflected we've been so much stronger, playing more on the front foot, dominating. Like the games against like Braga at home, Dortmund home and away, the game against Leipzig where people wrote us off. Like, it was generally the sense of like, you cannot write this team down. And the funny thing is though, is Tavernier, like 302 appearances and he's got 201 goal involvements. He's the highest.
That's mass, absolutely.
He's the high in terms of goals and assists over the past decade. He's the highest.
Yeah.
In the past 20, 30 years, I think he's in the top 3 in terms of goal involvements.
Yeah.
He's a fullback. And you just can't write that off as a player.
Just to answer Helen's question, the Russian goalkeeper, he is very solid. He is a very solid goalkeeper. Looks like he could be potentially number 1 next season as well, because apparently there are a lot of clubs in for Max Stryjek, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I think he has been a very good goalkeeper for Livingston this season. So it doesn't really surprise me. I thought he did pretty well against St Johnstone.
I agree. But I'm looking forward to the final. I'm buzzing. I'm not going to Seville, but I'm actually going to watch the game live from Ibrox like I did. I went to Ibrox for the UEFA Cup. I went to Ibrox for the UEFA Cup final in 2008, and that was fantastic. And I'm doing the same. Like, my dad was actually looking for ways into Seville. He was actually looking for tickets, so we could have actually been going.
Someone needs to tell me Rangers blue and Frankfurt's black clash. No clash on Sunday when they played in black. There's no clash.
There's no clash. They just played in it. It doesn't really matter. Like, it's their choice. Like Dundee United, this year have done black and orange for their home shirts, which has been fine by me. I'm not bothered, but the Frankfurt game is going to be fine. That's going to be a very good final, 50-50, and it's going to be a first-time winner for the Europa League, first time in a long time, apart from Villarreal.
Yeah.
In terms of consecutive seasons, it's not happened in a long time, so I'm looking forward to that, and it's going to be a cracking final. I can't wait. And then obviously we've got the Scottish Cup final straight after.
the Frankfurt fans in Europe as well. You have been, obviously the Camp Nou was obviously one of the big standout ones. Their fans exceptional. I think the atmosphere of that game between the two sets of fans will probably be the best atmosphere out of all the European finals. I think it's going to be a lot riding on them.
There's a lot riding on them because obviously Rangers, one way or another, are either going to be in the Champions League qualifying group stages, or they're going to be automatically in the Champions League group stages as a seeded team next year if they win the Europa League. Whereas Frankfurt are 11th in the Bundesliga. I think pressure-wise, there's a lot more on Frankfurt to go. If they want the Champions League, they've got to go for it. But the way Rangers have played against some of these best teams, and I'm not disregarding Frankfurt because they're a strong, solid side. But if Rangers play exactly how they did against Leipzig and Dortmund, and to be fair, the way they did against Braga at home, I think Rangers could steamroll Frankfurt. But Frankfurt have got a lot of good players in there, like Kamada, Kostic, like even their goalkeeper, Kevin Trapp, very strong. It's just how about they handle them. I think it's going to be a great final. It's full on 50-50. I can't wait.
Yeah, definitely. Just very, very quickly before we do go on to our fun sort of thing for the evening. Milan 2 wins away from Scudetto glory. You must be very, very excited with the last 2 games.
100%. The fact that it was, I think personally for me, it was our hardest. Like obviously our next game is against Atalanta, but the hardest game of the run-in is Verona.
Oh, you've got the Leeds. You've got the Italian Leeds.
Yeah. 2 previous attempts back in the 70s, and also the great Milan team that was in the Champions League, or the Europa League, the European Cup final, 89-90 season. Their two title teams were actually ended by Verona.
Diz, I'm going to be honest here. I am going to be in Greece. I'm not going to be in North Korea. I'm going to be in Greece. So
I'm definitely for that comment. That's
Sasha, I don't think that is going to happen. I do not think that is going to happen. I think what's going to happen is we're going to probably give him a new deal. So I don't see that. Bayern and Bundesliga. Bayern definitely Bundesliga. What the hell? Nick Cave has lost another son. God for him, he is one of my favorite. Nick Cave. Who's Nick Cave? You've completely lost me. I'll obviously Google it. But I thought we would end with our team of the season. So what I'm going to do is basically go around each one of you. We'll obviously start with the goalkeeper. And then obviously the majority of the chat, you can get involved as well. And basically the majority of the keepers who we think are, if we all are unanimous in one goalkeeper, then we'll see where. But okay, I'm going to be honest with my goalkeeper. I would give it to Jose Sa. I think Wolves have been fantastic this season, and if it hadn't been for Wolves, I think Wolves would be lower in the league. So I'm going Jose Sa. Josh?
A tough one.
Bias prick incoming.
No, I'm going to think outside the box here. I'm going to try and keep my team of the season a bit different because I'm actually going to go Aaron Ramsdale.
I was split between Ramsdale as well and Jose Sa, to be honest. I'm just going to edge it for Jose Sa, just because of the solidity there.
Okay, Reese?
I said it earlier on, for me, player of the year is Jose Sa for what he's done with Wolves, so I'm sticking with it. Goalkeeper, 100% Sa.
Oh, so that is 3 for Sa. So, George, you've got the casting vote here. Who are you going for?
Well, I was always going to go for Jose Sa.
Fuck you.
You fucking had that earlier on.
George, piss off.
Fucking brilliant. Just to answer because I know she asked me earlier on, so my Wi-Fi is as fucking good as Celtic's European campaign this year. Rangers, if they win the Europa League, will automatically go in as a seeded team to the Champions League group stage. They'll go into pot 1 if they win it.
So let's see what some of you are saying. Jose Sa. I think Jose Sa, Ramsdale for me. As well.
Good, yes.
Interesting. I'm glad no one has said Ederson because
Why should we?
quite clearly I don't think it is. Suppose you could argue Alisson as well. He has saved Liverpool at points this season, but I just think as overall, I think Jose Sa definitely picks it. Left back, we're going to go with now. There's only one option for me, and it's Cancelo.
Second
Josh?
Right.
What the fuck was that? You didn't hear what you said, did you, donkey?
I said can't disagree.
Can't disagree. Nathan?
Yeah, for me, Cancelo.
George?
Yeah, Cancelo by an absolute country mile.
Country mile, yeah. And I think Reese is agreeing. So we're unanimous in Cancelo. So it's Jose Sa, Cancelo. Centre backs, I'm going to go with Antonio Rudiger and Joel Matip. Josh?
Ooh.
I'm sorry, what?
I do like it. I do like Antonio Rudiger. I love the guy, but I don't think he gets into the team of the year. I just don't
Yeah,
think
load of this guy.
I just don't think the Chelsea defense has performed to the level to put him into the team. I'm actually going to go. I'm going to put Craig Dawson in there. I think he's been really, really good this season. Again, George Cheerface, I'm doing outside the box team of the season. I'm trying to keep it interesting. I'm trying not to go the same as you all guys, otherwise it just gets really boring. And then, should I just and then I'm going to say Mark Yushi. Outside the box team of the season, Mark Yushi and
I'm losing.
That's a good show, actually.
But this is outside the box. So before people say at me, I'm just picking different things from these guys just to keep it interesting before anybody says to me in the chat.
Nathan?
Come back to me a second. I'm having a think.
Okay. George?
I'm trying to think if I was gonna, because actually what Josh is doing is quite nice actually, because it does give a bit of diversity. So he's mentioned quite a few players that have are good shouts, but for me, Rudiger definitely. I think he's been absolutely phenomenal, and obviously I've got to go with Van Dijk. Unfortunately, seen a lot of Liverpool games this season, wanting them to lose, but then the Terminator at the back somehow.
Yeah, Van Dijk. Yeah.
Trouble. He's just a ridiculous defender, and it's just a shame you guys have got him, Doug. But easily the best defender in the league, and he's got to be or best central defender, I should say. So he's got to be in my team of the season.
Van Dijk, yeah. Reese?
For me, I'm going for Antonio Rudiger, and I'm also going for the one player that I said I was annoyed that Liverpool signed in the summer, and that's Ibrahima Konate.
Ooh.
I think I've made my mind up on this one.
Okay.
I cannot say Rudiger for obviously what happens when he came to the Cardiff City Stadium, but I am going to go for a bit of a shock here. This might cause a bit of controversy, but Virgil van Dijk, Kurt Zuma.
Is that for kicking cats or for football purposes?
Football purposes.
Good, at least you confirmed.
Craig Dawson's been better than Kurt Zuma, if you're going to go for any West Ham.
He has, yeah.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
So what are the chat going with? Let's see. Van Dijk and Matip, says James. Van Dijk and Matip from Helen. Them two have stood out. Helen, struggle to think of anyone else who's fully stood out. Van Dijk and Rudiger, I go for. I think the majority is definitely going for Van Dijk and Rudiger. Right back, this is going to cause a lot of controversy, I can tell.
Straight away, Reece James for me. Straight away.
I'm going Trent. I'm going Trent.
Reece James.
And again, I'm going to be the fourth one to go with Reece James. I think he's obviously the thing with Trent is phenomenal going forward, but defensively always suspect. Even on that goal, obviously that Son scored, obviously Van Dijk had sort of left it for Trent, and Trent gets easily. It was just horrendous against Harry Kane. Obviously allowing him to go past him far too easily and just go into the area. So, and I think Reece James has been absolutely phenomenal for Chelsea. When he's in the team, they're a totally different proposition. I've seen lots and lots of Chelsea matches again this season. Sadly, when he's been phenomenal. So yeah, Reece James definitely right back for me.
Okay, well there we go. There we
I
go.
think Trent
I'm
has a lot
outvoted.
to offer. Like I think Trent does have a lot to offer, but for me, it's not as a right back. I think his best position for me is either as a. I think he can actually do a job as a winger, but you've got Salah there, and I think realistically, I think he could play really well as a central midfield player. I think in terms of like how he can play the ball like across the ground or in the air, like he's got the fantastic vision to do it, and he's got the pace to cover ground. But just I echo the sentiments of George. Like if I expect my fullback to attack, but for goodness sake, if you can't defend, I don't want you anywhere near my team. Like it just doesn't give me confidence. But
The only thing I can say,
brilliant.
the only thing I can say as well about Trent, he is top of the assists as well. So
He's a right back though. That's the thing for me.
Yeah.
Right. But okay, well, I'll go along with that. My midfield three, right? So we're going to go with 4-3-3. My midfield three: Fabinho, Conor Gallagher, and Bernardo Silva.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Fabinho, Odegaard, and
But what?
Get to fuck.
Odegaard.
He's doing his absolute ones, isn't he? He's doing ones that are
This is taking this is your whole plan.
Odegaard has.
What the fuck is this?
Odegaard.
Oh my.
Wow. Okay.
Right, I get your point of you want to give a fair coverage, but there's going from Conor Gallagher, which is a good shout, to fucking Odegaard.
no, I think Gallagher is an obvious shout because he took everyone. He took the whole Premier League by surprise. How good he's been. I'm going to stick with Odegaard. So I'm just going outside the box here. I'm going to keep my actual team this season.
Scary as fuck.
I'm going to keep my actual team this season until the end of the year because there could be twists and turns. Who would my third one be? I'm actually going to go Ruben Neves. I think Ruben Neves had a very good season for Wolves this year. He's definitely been the best midfielder out of all of them. So I'll go Fabinho, Odegaard, and Neves.
Nathan.
Thinking this one through: De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Declan Rice.
I disagree with De Bruyne.
Really?
I'm sorry. I disagree with De Bruyne.
This is going to get good.
I know.
So you might have seen on my one that I agreed with two of Nathan's picks, which were I think De Bruyne again. Seen a lot of City's matches, and I think you see what De Bruyne is like in the league games. He is just phenomenal. It's almost as though with him again, it almost seems like he's got blistering pace because he just the way he drives through defenses is just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not quite sure how he even does it because you wouldn't think to look at him that he's very quick. But it's just he's just an outrageous player, outrageous passer. Scored so many important goals for Man City. Obviously assists, the heartbeat of the team. Without him, they're absolute crap. On the flip side of that, obviously because this is a Premier League team of the season, I'll have to put him in there because he's been brilliant in the Premier League. Obviously shitting when big games happen outside the Premier League. But in the Premier League, he's always incredibly good. So, and obviously Bernardo Silva, which I think obviously you had as well, Doug, didn't you, as well as Nathan?
Yeah.
So I think Bernardo Silva again, ridiculous player. Absolutely phenomenal. He's got to be in there. And then my third pick is Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle.
That's a shout.
I think for him,
that's a shout and a half. That
I think he's been.
I hate you.
I think again with
you
him,
literally just stole my surprise pick. I hate you.
I think he's been absolutely, obviously important goals, incredible. He's incredibly an all-round midfielder, dictates play, always looking for the ball. He's been the driving thrust. Newcastle's meteoric rise from obviously,
Agreed.
Talking about them being definitely relegated all the way up to where they are now. Obviously, didn't have his best game against City, but most, again, it's one of those things where just sometimes you just sort of get drowned out. But I think overall, for his contribution, he's definitely my team of the season. So yeah, my three is De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, and Bruno Guimaraes.
Reece.
I echo that Guimaraes statement. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I've watched him obviously firsthand with Leon in the Rangers game at the very start of the season, the Europa League, and he completely dominated that Rangers midfield. He's absolutely fantastic. He is a driving force up and down, links really well with the centre half. My midfield three is actually going to really shock you, lads. I'm really not joking. My midfield is going to shock you. My midfield three is Bruno Guimaraes, as mentioned. Conor Gallagher, who I think has been fantastic for Palace. And my third player... My third player actually is also... Yeah, it's Bernardo Silva. I'm just rubbing you along. For me, I just think Bernardo Silva this year has been absolutely phenomenal for Manchester City. He's completely controlled that midfield, like echoing like what Nathan and George have said. As I was giving him such props, my Wi-Fi cut on me. They must hate City players. I do echo the same about Bernardo Silva. He's a fantastic player. He's came in from the right-hand side into the midfield three, where I do believe his best position is. He's completely controlled City's attacks, like up and down, and that for me is the testing point. And Gallagher's just...
Oh,
there he goes.
He's away. He is. His Wi-Fi started to pack in on him. Okay, we'll go with right winger because I think this might be unanimous. Mo Salah for me has to be Mo Salah. Josh,
well, I'm doing my outside the box thinking here, so no Mo Salah for me. Jared Brown.
Jared Bowen. Ooh,
Actually, that is
Nathan.
a shout, to be fair. Yeah, I've gone for Mo Salah.
George.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is Mo Salah. What I would say on him, though, he has a very, obviously, I think the second half of the season, he's not been anywhere near as good as he was, obviously, in the first half of the season. I think first half of the season, there were genuine, obviously, Ballon d'Or shouts because he was, so prolific. But I think second half of the season struggled slightly. But obviously, you've had Luis Diaz, I think, maybe to sort of, cover a bit of the slack, as well as I think Jota's got. And obviously, Mane has really, particularly as well, has come into the fore as well. But yeah, Salah's got to be, if we're taking the entire season, obviously, most goals, most assists. And he has been overall, I think he's been very good. So yeah, Salah definitely right wing.
Yeah, definitely. Race right wing.
That was fucking embarrassing. My Wi-Fi must hate Man City players that much. I was basically just saying, like, I echo everything else but Silva and all that, and that's why he's in my midfield three. Right winger for me, it's Riyad Mahrez.
Oh.
I'm not giving it to Salah. He's been useless for me since January, so I'm not giving it to him. He's not been consistent enough for me. He's been fantastic. I will give him credit. He's been excellent, but just since before AFCON, he's not been consistent enough for me. That's why I'm not giving it to him. Whereas Mahrez has literally been their driving force on that right-hand side when he's needed to. He has moments where he can be an absolute clown, but in terms of consistency, he's actually been, for me, more consistent than Salah has. So that's why I'm giving it to. That's why I'm giving it to Mahrez.
Interesting. Left wing. Come back to me for my one. Josh?
Son.
What happened to
Luis Diaz.
What happened to you out of the box ones, Josh?
I was actually going to say Luis Diaz, but he's only been at the club since January, so I think Son for a whole season has been bad. If you want me to go, if you really want me to go inside the box, George, right? If you're going to send me down that alley,
Jadon Sancho.
Get out of here. There hasn't actually been many great left wingers in the Premier League this year. It's if you're from outside the box one, I'm actually going to say Alex Iwobi. I think Alex Iwobi's had a very good year for Everton. So
you're the most completely erratic human. Like Alex Iwobi's been shite all season.
Alex Iwobi.
I did say Son, and George told me to say think outside the box. So I said I think outside the box. I did say Son.
No. We say think out the box for players that have actually done good. Alex Iwobi's done nothing all season. Like Jesus.
Well, my left winger is Sadio Mane.
Oh, interesting.
Like even James Dunlop has gone, what the fuck? Like Jesus Christ.
I wasn't thinking. I just said the first name that came into my head. So I had Son on my mind.
I'm going Sadio Mane because I think a lot of people have written Mane off this season, and because I think he has been outperforming Mo Salah recently. And people are saying he's having a bad season. Well, if he's having a bad season, then why is he on 18 Premier League goals?
Good point.
And also, why did he win AFCON and Salah didn't?
Yeah, and I think if you actually say it as well, Mane has taken Senegal to AFCON glory, and he's also taken Senegal to the World Cup by beating Egypt and scoring the winning penalty as well. Mane in that forward role this season has been a different Mane, I would have to say. Especially with, like, obviously Luis Diaz is there, and obviously, sometimes Jota has been there as well. So, yeah, for me it's Mane, but I'll obviously go with the majority, and I think it's definitely Son.
I think the one thing that's crazy as well is I seen a stat yesterday about me, I can't stand XG and all that bollocks. But see, for like obviously Son's on 20 goals this season. None of them have been from the penalty spot, whereas Salah has. Son's expected goals this year is 13.2, whereas Salah is 36.1. Son is completely outperforming on that extent as well. But I just think I think even though Son's got a few things where I really can't stand, he is a phenomenal player. For me, he is by far Spurs' best player. He's clear of Harry Kane.
Yeah.
But in terms of like impact, I just think what Son has done at Liverpool was just really lifted their season a lot. Like, I didn't expect him to settle in so fast, but he has been a driving force for you guys. That's why I picked him. But Mane's been fantastic for you. He's far ahead of Salah, far ahead of him. Like, in that sense, I completely agree with you. But it's just something with Diaz, that impact he's had. But I do get Josh's point. He's only been there for 6 months. 6 months of the season is going to be, you necessarily wouldn't give it to him. But for me, I don't care how long you've been at a club for, whether it be 6 months or 12 months. If you have a significant impact, I think you should be at least given that notion. And for me, Luis Diaz, since January, he has just been absolutely brilliant for Liverpool. And it makes me ill having to admit it, but he has been phenomenal. That's why, if I'm going to say best left wing for me is Diaz.
Yeah. So, striker, what are we going for?
Ronaldo.
For my, obviously, I'm going to go Ronaldo. For my outside the box one, Ivan Toney.
I was going to send it and say Ivan Toney.
George?
I'm second with Ronaldo.
I mean, from my profile picture on Twitter, which has been for my entire time on Twitter, always Ronaldo. I think for me, again, I can bore on about Ronaldo for hours, but ultimately the amount of goals that he's managed to score in such an absolutely abhorrent Man United side, terrible, and he's carried us. Obviously, I think he's not only obviously against weak teams, but also against the big teams as well. He's been consistently scored against them as well. And yeah, he's been absolutely phenomenal. I can obviously, a lot of people have said this, and I can sort of agree that if he was playing in a good team, he'd easily have the Golden Boot. How he's got as many goals as he had is just an unbelievable thing again. Greatest of all time, and yeah, definitely centre forward in my Premier League team of the season.
Yeah, I was going to say Ronaldo. I was going to say Ronaldo as well.
You got brains, boy.
I almost said Diogo Jota just to annoy George, but I didn't. But no, I think
Andrew's went for Harry Kane. Interesting.
Harry Kane.
Shocking.
Harry Kane didn't turn up for the first 5 months.
He's called it the filth choice, but he said Harry Kane. But I think the only reason he's mentioned Kane, I think with all due respect, like, I think even though I don't particularly like Kane at all, like, he has skyrocketed in terms of like numbers. Like, his goals and assists have definitely helped Conte's side, but
yeah,
I just think
it is 0-0 at half time between Sheffield Wednesday and Sunderland. Sunderland lead 1-0 on aggregate at the moment. So should be very, very good. But that has been another World of Football podcast.
I just want to make one off comment though about can we just say that Timo Pukki's got the same amount of goals as Ollie Watkins and Jimmy Vardy this season?
Jesus Christ.
There's a reason
on that
for Ollie
bombshell,
Watkins' low goals amount, though. It's a man called Steven Gerrard.
That's true.
On that bombshell, we will end. Thank you very, very much to everyone in the comments. It's been a fabulous, fabulous show. And thank you to my esteemed panel. Now, as far as obviously podcasts are coming up, next week there will not be a podcast on my channel. I am sadly working, so unfortunately I will not be with you guys next week. And then the following Monday will be the final podcast of the season, and then I am taking a deserved break. So I can basically get ready to marry the love of my life. So I'm just letting people know that as well. So, but Josh, thank you very, very much as always. Co-host, of course. Have you got anything coming up in your channel?
Oh, loads, absolutely loads. End of season reviews coming to everybody who I did a pre-chat with before the season. I'm doing the end of season chat version. Nathan's going to be coming on very, very soon. Reece will be coming on. Me and George got a podcast now weekly. Then I've got an FA Cup final preview with Owen and Jack next week. I've also got Reece and Carl coming on for the Scottish Cup preview. So yes, loads is coming. I'm also arranging the Europa League conference preview, and tomorrow I am recording my first ever Glenavon vlog for the Europa League game against Glentoran. So
I meant to say I'll be doing a live watch along of the Europa League final. I forgot to say that 18th of May I will be doing a live watch along to Rangers against Eintracht Frankfurt, and then the following week I will be doing the Europa Conference League final, which I believe that Reece will be helping me with. So that should be a fantastic final, and also I will also be doing the playoff final. The Championship playoff final as well. So looking forward to that one as well. But Nathan, thank you very much for coming on again. I know that obviously the Championship season is over, but any content coming up?
So thanks for having me on as usual, especially for the rants as well. But looking at my channel at the moment, got a few previews on the Old Man's or reviews on the Old Man's one. There's going to be some stinkers on that. Let's just say, and then over the summer it'll be Wales content. All of the Volkswagen,
of course,
that massive one against either Scotland or Ukraine, of course. And of course, I'll be on Josh's channel for a few things as well, and a range of other channels. So check that out, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Reece, I know that obviously you've gone through a little bit of a difficult time, obviously losing a beloved pet of yours, but thank you very much for coming on. I don't know if you're any streaming coming up or anything like that, or
I'm not sure yet. I still got my own channel, past 200 subscribers now, so it's literally just carrying on. Like I've got the weekly armchair still. I've actually been asked to host a podcast this week for a few members of the channel, because obviously it's the North London derby. They've asked me to host as like a neutral, where I'll be tearing into both shit clubs anyway. But we'll see if I'm doing it. But yeah, third bereavement in 6 months. But this is a big one for me. Obviously, it's my dog who I've owned since I was 10 years old. So 15 years of that, rough. That's why I wasn't on any shows, why I hardly watched the game on Friday. That's why I went bowling with friends instead, because it was actually much better. Yeah. But yeah, I probably will do a few streams. We'll see. But other than that, not a lot. It's been good. And obviously, the cup finals, I'm looking forward to that. And I'll be streams with Josh. It should be good. It's just been great. So cheers for having me on. And obviously, it's a good distraction. It's my week off work, so I'll be doing fuck all.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. And George, thank you very much as always.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, Doug. Thanks to everyone in the chat as always. Your comments are what makes the show. Thank you so much for your involvement over this season. Obviously, penultimate show now, as Doug sort of illustrated, and looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks for the closing show. But yeah, thank you as always, and good night.
Yeah,
cheers, Hella. And also, just a quick shout to Chris Welsh. Romero and Bowen, great shouts, by the way.
Oh yeah,
great shouts.
Yeah, Romero, I have seen that. Can we also say congratulations to Chris Welsh as well, getting a new job, which is absolutely amazing to hear. So very, very well done, Chris. I won't say that I told you so that you were going to get it, but no, very, very well done, Chris, and I wish you many, many happy times at your new job. But that is all from us for tonight. And yeah, I will see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Should be fantastic. By then, we will know who has gone up to the Championship, who has gone up to League One, and also who has potentially gone up to the Scottish Premiership. Well, St Johnstone versus Inverness are both going to be good, going to be very, very good. But until then, from all of us, it is good night and have a great week. Cheers. Bye-bye.